Welcome to the Mike on Much podcast. I'm your host, Mike Veerman. I am here with my friend and trusted producer, Max Kerman. We're also here with our pop culture aficionado, Shane Cunningham. And this is the first of our year-end holiday wrap-up. You'll be getting 6 pods over the next 6 days discussing some of our favorite music, TV shows, and movies from 2019, as well as the year's biggest disappointments and some surprises. Yeah, guys, that's right. I wrote that on the way here to do this,
that was very good.
This podcast.
Very good reader.
What are the surprises, though? What could they possibly be?
Oh, well.
Or are they for me? Because I don't know what they could be.
That's actually one of our subjects coming up probably in episode 5. Did you
A
not?
surprise for me?
No, the biggest surprise of the year.
Oh,
It's one of our
you
things.
mean? Oh, I see what you mean now.
Yeah, so what was a surprise for you in 2019? We're not surprising you with anything.
Gotcha. Okay.
Although, Max, don't speak so soon because this is a holiday podcast. I brought you guys both a gift to kick
Come
it off
on.
right. It's the holidays, so I brought you guys something. Yeah.
Oh,
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh, come on. Oh, me and Shane didn't. Shane, did you get Mike anything?
Of course I did. I just have to go back home and get it because I forgot it.
Ah, jeez.
this?
What do we have? Ah, this is great. This is,
Oh my goodness! Is it the Veerman ring? No.
Okay.
I got the ring.
So,
This is great.
you just re-gifted the gift from your brother to Shane?
please. No, he got the replica from opening night.
This is awesome, though.
No,
oh my God!
Because Shane had said he wanted the replica, and if you look, they have the cool holder thing in the box as well, so that you can like actually.
Do you have yours?
I didn't bring it. I didn't bring it to Hamilton tonight.
Oh, I thought we were all gonna wear it.
So for our listeners,
Oh, I didn't think I was gonna get one. I thought Birchall told me he might wear
Well, here's
his.
the funny thing: is if Virgil does wear his ring out tonight, you'll have that one to wear out tonight, which will be
Oh,
funny.
I'm wearing it all night.
I love it.
This is awesome.
So,
so
and
great.
actually, a pod, I think, listener
you, Mike.
suggested maybe on my Instagram that now Shane should get the opening night replica ring. So when you're done with it, that's the thing it sits in on your desk. Like it will go in there, yeah.
I don't think I'll ever take it off.
Oh
I'll
man,
just
I'm
wear
glad
it.
you like it so much. I never know. I just knew that you wanted one from opening night, so I was
Oh,
happy
it's
to.
very cool. Like
Yeah.
when I'm like 80, this will be really awesome. Like every year, it'll just get better and better.
Oh.
Thank you.
And
And I got a Barack Obama royal bobblehead.
okay, so the story behind that, Max, is
So
this. So as you know, I was in Philadelphia with our good friend Sean Dawson, and as we were walking through Philadelphia, which is a very historic city.
The original capital.
That's right, man.
Ben Franklin and all that shit.
And we saw this in a window, and Sean and I were like, "This is hilarious. Should we get this for Max's birthday?" Because as you know, we went a little bit ago, and
Yeah.
your birthday just passed.
Yeah.
My original plan was to come in on the next pod, and I was going to present you this because Sean and I did go splits on this gift. This
Oh,
was
nice.
actually originally a birthday gift from Sean and I.
Oh, thank you, Sean. Really appreciate
Then
it.
once I missed that window, I thought this will be perfect for the holiday episode.
Oh, I love
So
Barack
now it's
Obama
a Christmas
so much.
gift just from you.
That's right.
Nice.
It ties in nicely to the last episode where I said I'd invite Barack Obama to my birthday party.
That's right.
Oh man, I miss that guy so much.
So I hope you enjoy this bobblehead,
Yeah.
and you can thank Sean tonight on the pub crawl.
Okay, I will. Thank
We
you,
are
Sean.
doing
Thank
our-
you so much.
Yeah, we're doing our
So
pub crawl
nice.
tonight. And so anyway, that's how I thought we should kick off the series of 6 episodes you guys will be hearing every day over the holidays,
Yeah, there's a great Onion headline, there's a great Onion headline related to this very idea, because we gave a little gift to Webby D for Christmas because
Yeah,
it was fun work.
the best. Love
and
Webby
then
D.
he just sends a screenshot back to me of an Onion art headline, which is Area Man has little present for you, and it's okay that you don't have present for Area Man too. Anyway, shouts to Webby D.
Shouts to Webby D. So guys, do you want to just get right into our first sort of holiday year-end
Yeah,
wrap-up
let's do it.
episode of the year? So the theme today, I'm sure you've already read it in the description, is going to be our favorite TV or movie from 2019. So we wanted to leave it a little bit broad. So maybe you don't watch a lot of movies, maybe watch more TV, maybe watch more movies and not enough TV. So you can pick any from either of those sort of formats. Who wants to
Shane,
start?
you start.
Yeah. You are a pop culture aficionado.
I know I am. So you want me to say the best TV show of the year?
Oh, just the thing that you liked or that you enjoyed the most or you'd recommend, or just something that was like particularly impactful to you.
Okay, I know the answer, but I feel like I'm going to steal your answer.
No, I got a different one than you think. Go.
You're not saying Fleabag?
Oh, I am saying Fleabag.
Okay. I love how clever you thought you were there.
So smart.
I have this little show that only I know about. Yeah, Fleabag. Fleabag was just a very, very, very good show.
Yeah.
And it caught me off guard. Succession's obviously
Yeah.
amazing. Season 2, I'd say, is almost like a new show in of itself because I think it got a lot better in the second season.
Yeah, thanks. I like
Yeah.
both seasons equally. I thought. But.
We're talking about Succession or Fleabag?
Yeah, Succession.
Succession.
We'll get to Succession in a bit. Tell people why Fleabag is so good and why they should maybe give it a chance if they haven't. Because even though it is obviously become one of the biggest buzz shows of 2019, won by Phoebe Waller-Bridge, who Max said he wanted at his birthday party.
Yeah.
She just won a couple Emmys for writing, I think, and for acting. And so the show is a big buzz show, but a lot of people still haven't seen it. I'm one of them, actually. I'm embarrassed to say, just because it's hard to find time.
Well, you tried to get into it.
I watched the first episode with Danica, and it was good, but it wasn't like, and this is the first episode of season 1. I was into it, but I wasn't like, I'm so compelled to watch the rest. Although I know, and Shane had said, it gets awesome as it goes along. I just didn't have time to go back because I ended up watching some other shows, which I'll discuss once we get to my part. But maybe you guys should discuss why people should watch it.
Yeah, because Fleabag also isn't from this year, and you told us at the beginning of this, let's not get too nitpicky, but I do think definitely season 2 of Fleabag's better than season 1.
Yeah. I'd say I like both. I don't know.
Okay.
But again, man, I'm not.
But the reason I like it is because I think like 3 or 4 episodes in, it's the type of show you watch and you go, wait, how is this so good? How can this person be nailing the character so expertly? And I was talking to Alex, my wife, and I was just saying, she has to be the writer, director, actor. That's the only way this show can be so good. And we were like debating whether or not that was true. I thought it was pretty rare because I'd never really heard of her before. And I looked it up, and she was all 3 of those things. So it's very like well done. The editing's insane. She's talking to camera, which is one of the stupidest ideas you could ever have, probably, and she pulls it off and does it well and makes it feel like another show could maybe do it too and probably will fail horribly because it's not a thing that you ever see outside of what's Saved by the Bell.
Yeah.
Right?
Like as a storytelling device, it can be very lame and cheesy.
Yeah, what are other places?
Fresh Prince did it, I thought.
And I guess Wolf of Wall Street maybe has a moment where that happens, but...
Yeah.
But it's usually done in like a narration, not like I'm going to break the fourth wall and talk directly to camera like a Zach Morris.
Yeah.
I
loved it because there's a lot of great television shows that I have not watched. I'm very embarrassed to say that I never watched Breaking Bad, didn't watch The Sopranos, didn't watch The Wire. So like I'm not
Mad Men?
Mad Men. I watched a bit of it.
Wow.
I'm not a huge TV buff. But when I do fall in love with the show, I fall hard. And that happened for me a couple times. Like Succession this year, I loved a lot. I'm in the middle of Peaky Blinders right now, and Peaky Blinders is very, very good. The thing about a lot of these shows, though, it's like when you're telling somebody to watch it, it's a big commitment. If somebody says, "Cool, you got to do it, you're going to love it." And then I just like, look, okay, Breaking Bad is 6 seasons, and it's like each episode's an hour long, and there's 12 episodes. And like to me, it's just like the whole thing is daunting, and I feel like I'm never going to catch up. What's brilliant about Fleabag, and which is the case with a lot of UK shows, 2 seasons. Each episode is 25 minutes long. You'll blow right through them, and then you'll be done. And I just feel like it's a very...
6 episodes per season.
6 episodes per season. And they're only 26 minutes. And it's like the watch itself is kind of a cross between like a delightful, funny, but also like heartbreaking experience all in one. But it never gets too heavy where you're like, I'm not really in the mood for this. It's like very easy to throw on and just enjoy. It gets heavy, just and awkward, just the right amount. And so aside from all that, though, then you begin to do the deep dive on Phoebe Waller-Bridge, and you're like, I fucking love this story so much. She's like our age. She's like, in her early to mid 30s. The show was developed from a play, like a one-person play she wrote and performed in England, and then she ends up being the head writer on Killing Eve.
Yeah.
And then you hear, Daniel Craig loves her, and she's going to write for the new Bond. All these things sort of start adding up to like the most sort of like, I don't know, just like charming feel-good story about this like young woman in the British theater world that is just like taking over America. And then after the show gets really big, she goes and performs it on. She goes back and performs it on whatever the British version of Broadway is. So like after the show was done, she goes back and does another round of theater. And there's like pictures of her like bringing scotch to everybody waiting in line outside the theater, like pouring drinks. Anyway, just like everything she does is right up my alley. And last thing I'll say is she did. She has. If you want, if you're not totally sold on this pitch, she has an interview with Terry Gross on Fresh Air. And she just comes off so down to earth, so self-aware. She doesn't take herself too seriously, but clearly she's one of the most ambitious people in the game. And it's just like I think a lot of the reasons why people liked Lena Dunham in the early days before she started to get on people's nerves is the sweet spot that Phoebe Waller-Bridge is in now. And I'm just comparing because they're two like female auteurs. Is that the word you say?
Sure.
Auteurs that make this very real brand of sort of like coming of age stories for young women.
Do you think people will turn on Phoebe Waller-Bridge?
I don't know. She seems to be. I feel like Lena Dunham had like a certain penchant for like putting her foot in her mouth. And by the way, I have a lot of respect and sort of sympathy for Lena Dunham and the position that she was sort of in for like the previous 4 or 5 years, because I think she's generally like a very good person and stands for the right things. She just was just bad at saying the wrong thing at the wrong time often. I don't know. Phoebe Waller-Bridge, just like based on the interview with Terry Gross and other interviews I've seen, she has a coolness to her.
People used to say that about Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah.
Then they turned on her.
Well, my question would be like people turn on successful people. Like, my question would be like, what's the next thing she does, and does it deliver? You know, it's like David Simons, like sort of, or like Matt Weiner, like these sort of showrunners. I mean, they're not also actors. I'm trying to think of someone like her who's like a performer, writer, director that appears in their own stuff that has sort of been celebrated. Like, can anyone think of a comp?
Woody Allen?
Thank you. People haven't turned on him.
No.
She's going to be all right. I was trying to think like have people turned on Tarantino? I mean, he doesn't perform though.
What's like this generation? Who would be like the male equivalent? I'm trying to think.
Donald Glover.
Oh yeah, Donald Glover. He's pretty well loved.
Atlanta.
I don't think anybody hates on Donald Glover really at all.
Well, that's
He's
what I'm saying.
pretty
I guess what I'm saying is it's like, yeah, you could. I mean, you know, they always say the whole thing with pop culture is we build celebrities up to take them down, and then we get to see them make a comeback, and it's kind of this cyclical thing that we like to see as sort of observers of these things. But if the work stays really good, then I think in general, I don't know if people turn, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and also I feel like she has really become famous in the last 3 years, and that's as like a fully developed adult, basically. As like when you become famous when you're like in your early 30s and you come from like the British theater system is renowned for like it's really about like the ensemble, and it's not about like Hollywood. It's about like, oh, you do some time on the stage and then you do a TV show and then you do a movie, and it's all about sort of being a part of the production. It's not about the celebrity in the way it is on the American side. And I feel like that will all serve her well as she navigates her future. I think it's good for her longevity. But it'll be interesting to see what the next thing is.
And people like a little bit of change and growth. They don't like, even if it's good, like Wes Anderson was always good, but then things got too Wes Anderson-y for people, even if the films were good. You know what I mean? And then...
like if her next thing looks like this.
And if she's talking to camera, it's like, even if it's great, it'll be like, okay, enough with this. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
people do grow tired of that.
That'll be the criticism.
You know what's another strategy, which is interesting to think about, is how quickly, like what her output is basically over the next like 5 years. Because if she doesn't do enough stuff, and then the one thing she's like building everyone up for is a dud, then she'll drop a lot. But if she does too much stuff, I don't know. It's just like, what is the right amount of stuff to be producing?
Yeah.
Because some people are really prolific, and some people maybe I could stand to produce more. And if you're in that category of like not doing a ton, which I want to talk about in my music top music thing, which we'll get to, is so I don't wonder how, because she signed that big Amazon deal, so I wonder when the next thing is going to come out. She was like a $20 million like development deal with Amazon.
Well, I mean, it's good. If I'm Amazon, I'm happy to be in the business of her. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
It feels like probably the safest bet in 2020.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Just what would be the best way to describe Fleabag for anybody who's like, okay, what is this show actually about? It's basically about.
It's like an anti-hero, like sort of a flawed protagonist who's like
a young woman living in London who has a strained relationship with her sister and her father, and there's some people close to her in her life that have passed away recently, and
borderline sociopathic tendencies,
sort of, but you kind of relate to all of them on a certain level. At least I did.
And she seems like she could be again borderline sex addict.
Yeah,
maybe you wouldn't say that if it was a man. I don't know, but definitely,
sure.
Yeah, she gets labeled as that.
Yeah. But it's just like
it's a character study.
It's a character study, and it feels like brutally honest in all the right ways or something.
Yeah.
In a way that I'm just like, every young person who is like a millennial trying to figure it out, you know, living in the big city, working kind of shitty jobs, trying to like keep her family kind of together, and like a lot of the stuff that she does rings true, I think, to me and a lot of my friends.
It's the only series I think I've ever finished with my wife. It's her favorite show.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I just recommend it to everybody. And you'll blow through it. Mike, what's your favorite?
Wow, I mean that was a good one just because you guys you both had that in common, so it was good to go in depth. I mean, along with you guys, like I obviously am a huge fan of Succession. I actually thought Shane was going to pick Succession, so I picked an alternative television one, just thinking that Succession was going to get picked. But I think Succession is probably the best show on TV right now.
So good. We can talk about that.
Yeah, so I mean that was my favorite TV. I was going to quickly go through movies. I was just going to say like the two films I enjoyed the most this year. We don't have to go into them. We've talked about them on this pod already in the past. But I loved. I really enjoyed Parasite, and I really enjoyed Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah,
those were probably the two films that like I saw this year that I was like, I'm so glad I took 2 hours out of my day. And I got to see that. And we always talk about how time is, it's hard to find the time these days to watch stuff. Like, if Fleabag had come out 5 years ago, there's no way, or even 2 years ago before I had a kid, it's like, that gets watched. I'll binge that. Like, just based on Shane's strong recommendation one day in the office where he's like, this show's fucking awesome. I would have went home and I would have watched all that night. It's hard to find the time. Two of the films, like I said, this year that I watched I loved were Parasite and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. But, yeah, for TV, runner-up, Watchmen, which is like, you guys know, like I lean sort of like sci-fi, fantasy. It's comic book, and I'm not necessarily a comic book guy, but Lindelof does that show. It's on HBO. I think it was such an amazing 9 episodes sort of like self-contained story, which sort of referenced the source material, and just done in such an amazing sort of like compelling way that unfolded as it went. So I was into it the whole time. So Watchmen, check it out. But now, Succession, best show on TV. You guys both watch it?
Oh yeah. Who's your favorite character?
Well, I mean, geez, like the comic relief is obviously Greg the Egg, and oh my goodness, who's
Kieran Culkin?
No, the husband, Greg, and
Tom.
Tom, thank you, Tom. The Tom and Greg show is kind of like the self-contained comedy within the sort of like more dramatic stuff. I remember reading an interview, and it was like, sometimes, like, do those guys feel like they're acting in a different show than the rest of the cast? Because tonally, it's sort of so different. But yeah, I don't know. Who's my favorite character? I mean, I don't know. Like, I enjoy Kendall's plight. For some reason, I like watching the sort of weird tragedy of Kendall's situation and inability to sort of like overcome his own sort of like fail son ways and also impress his dad living in his shadow.
Do you think Kendall's the best person on the show?
Oh, that's Shane and I had this talk like
who do you think? Because they're all kind of reprehensible, selfish people on a certain level.
Yeah.
But then for some reason, I feel like Kendall has the biggest heart. But maybe he's just made so many dumb, foolish decisions because he's selfish that I'm getting confused.
I think Greg has the biggest heart.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't put Greg in the family though, just because he's like
Cousin Greg.
Okay. Even though his name's Cousin.
In the family's kind of a part of his name though.
Cousin Greg.
Cousin.
Yeah.
Well, I think Kendall is definitely the most sensitive. So when you say he's the biggest heart, does he? I mean,
I don't know.
Well, because when you go like heart, like, well, what are his motivations? Like, he cares what his dad thinks. He wants to impress his dad. Like what informs the reason he does things? Is it because he wants to do the right thing, or does he want to do the thing that will impress his dad?
I just think you're right that he does want to impress his dad. I think he's the most sort of like emotionally in tune, even though he does asshole things all the time. Remember, he like sends the girlfriend home because she said the word awesome too many times at the family dinner.
Yeah.
Like
great scene, by the way.
Yeah, great scene. He can be a fucking dick, but he does seem like he has the most amount of empathy. Where
the camera lingers on him the most after a scene where you see him thinking the most. So that lends itself to thinking, oh, he's hurting about this, or this is a hard decision for him. Whereas, because he's the main character, right?
Yeah. Who's your favorite character?
I love Kieran Culkin's character.
Oh, I love him so much. I wanted like just a super cut of all of the insults he says. Like, he's so funny.
And I feel like I know him or something. I feel like I know him in real life, even though I don't. Like, he's so perfect for that role.
Yeah.
And in real life, he's also the biggest Toe Jam and Earl fan too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, him and Macaulay are obsessed with that game.
Oh, wow.
In fact, Macaulay's company was a producer of the game.
Oh, wow.
But I listened to a podcast with them, and they were talking to Greg Johnson, who we also talked to on this podcast.
Yeah, go back and listen to that.
But anyway, Kieran Culkin's character. His name's Roman?
Roman. And Shiv, I think, is a great character. All the children are awesome. Even Connor, the oldest son, who's not part of the business, but he's running his presidential campaign, and he also is like this shitty fail son that has to ask his dad for money all the time.
And he's secretly much older in real life than he plays on the show,
I think so, yeah.
He was on Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
That's right. Yeah.
Well, you were telling me all this awesome information about.
Yeah, there's a big feature on the actor who plays Connor, he's from Ferris Bueller, like Max said, but he's like, he's older, and he ended up marrying the actor from that show, The Killing, who's much younger than him. So he has like a young family now.
Oh wow!
Like even though he's like something like 56 or 57, and he's like obsessed with energy drinks.
What?
Yeah, they end up talking to
I didn't think you were gonna say
the
that.
actress that plays Willa on Succession. So he has all these scenes with him. She's like, yeah, he loves energy drinks. He's always drinking his energy drinks.
That's so funny.
He just kind of had a very funny interview, but I liked him a lot.
There's 3 things that I really love about the show. Number 1, it's perfectly cast. Like, given that I didn't really know really any of the actors, like I maybe vaguely recognize them.
Sorry, he's 63 years
63,
old.
thank you, yeah.
He looks like he's 50.
Yeah.
What's his name? What's that actor's name?
Alan Ruck.
Alan Ruck. I can't believe I drew a blank on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, but
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut
No,
you
no,
off.
But
that's
I was
good.
gonna say, if you can and you're listening to this and you're into this sort of thing, go and read that feature on The Ringer, because they go
Oh, is this The
into
Ringer? Okay, yeah.
so they talk. So basically, he was in a play with Matthew Broderick that a casting director had seen, and Matthew Broderick was something like 20 or something.
Yeah.
So they're going to cast him as a high school actor in Ferris Bueller, and they were trying to cast the friend role in Ferris Bueller. And because he does this scene with, or he's in this play with Alan Ruck. Alan Ruck's like 10 years older than him.
Oh wow.
In the play, but the chemistry was so good that they end up casting him in Ferris Bueller, and it sort of launches like the movie. Anyway, he goes into the whole story about being told to go fly out to Chicago. He's like, I don't want to audition anymore. I'm doing theater, blah blah blah. But and then Broderick has a bunch of funny stories about how this guy already had like a family and shit, was like 30, and the rest of them were all like 20 in the cast. But it's a really cool feature. So go read that about. Anyway, you were gonna say.
Well, I went down the Succession like deep dive after the 2 seasons. I just wanted to read everything about it. So I love it. Feels like it's cast perfectly. There isn't one character in terms like I don't like. It's like everybody seems perfectly believable, and maybe because none of them are huge stars, at least in my mind, that it's like I'm not. You know, when you're like Leo's in something, you're like I'm watching kind of Leo. I'm not watching the character he's playing. Do you know how that can happen sometimes?
Yeah.
Yep.
But when they're more unknown, you're just like, no, Kendall is just that guy, or Tom Wambsgans is just that guy.
Did you know that Tom is British?
I did know that.
Yeah.
So okay, I love that. I love the names of the characters. I think they're perfectly named, like weird, like Roman, Kendall, Siobhan, Connor.
See, I think Kieran Culkin's character should be named Kendall.
oh really?
That seems way more like a Kendall to me.
Oh, interesting. What
And
would
I
you name
think,
Kendall?
and I think,
Kendall should be called Connor.
no, I think Kendall should be called Roman.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can see that.
That would be your note. If you were producing the show before it launched, that would. If you
It
were Adam
fucks
McKay,
me up anytime someone says Roman. I'm like, yeah, and then I'm like, oh, they're talking about someone different.
Okay. Then the third thing I really like, which happens occasionally, and I can't think of the last time it happened to me, but the theme song is so fucking good.
Yeah, it is.
And they bring it back in different variations throughout every episode. So obviously, and sometimes you won't even know, but if you listen close, you're like, oh, this is just an alternate version.
Oh, this is an old show trick.
Yeah.
Like for dramas. This is, yeah.
It's so fucking effective, but it gets me so jacked up.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
Every time it comes on, it's like the perfect song for that show. And
Twin Peaks did that a lot. The Leftovers did that amazingly.
okay, so this
but
happens
go
all
on.
the time. But I just think that, yeah, okay, so clearly it's been done plenty of times before. But I just think it's just like the perfect piece of music for the show. And it's hard to execute because I'm watching Peaky Blinders right now, and I really like that show. I think
Second time you brought that up.
yeah, I think the theme song isn't great. I think it's not as strong as it could be. So I just think that they really, it's just like I love the feeling when the song kicks in. It literally gives me gets me high.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's so fucking cool. So I appreciate that. And the last thing I'll say is that there's a quickness to the writing, and there's sort of like a wicked, sort of like cynical, clever like wordplay that happens. And I'm like, who writes this show? It's a Brit, which totally makes sense when you watch the show. And you think about, a British person is writing the script. It makes so much more sense.
Well, Brian Cox is British too.
Yeah, who's that?
He's the dad.
Oh, and he's the dad.
Logan.
But the guy who
Siobhan, Australian.
really?
That's right.
See, fooled me. But no, it's true.
Yeah.
But yeah, because I forget there's a couple British shows that I've watched that the creator of this show has written, and I'm like, that makes.
Oh,
so much
interesting.
sense.
So you ended up watching this guy's work again
Yeah.
without knowing it.
Yeah.
Danica and I, actually, speaking of the actor who plays Tom, who's British, we said he is the lead in the Keira Knightley version of Pride and Prejudice.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And so Danica and I, because she's now jumped in on watching Succession with me. It was kind of one of those perfect shows where I'd be watching it, and she didn't really watch it with me. And then she kind of sat in for a couple episodes, and then it's like, you're in. And then so after season 2 ended, we decided to watch Pride and Prejudice again, just to watch Tom as like a leading, dashing British man opposite Keira Knightley.
Does he pull it off?
He does.
Wow.
One more thing which I love about Succession is each episode is its own little movie, and they do a really good job of making scene changes, because instead of just taking place in the financial district of New York and the Hamptons, they're like, all right, we're doing an episode in Arizona. Oh, we're going to Eastern Europe for a thing. Oh, we're doing an episode in a rave. You know what I mean? It's like, I think
on a boat.
On a boat. It's like the show would get a lot more stale if it was just them walking in and out of the same office building every time.
Well, it's very experiential.
Yeah. But the fact that they kind of take us around the world.
Yeah, it's like, oh, this is how the better half lives. You
Oh
get
my
that
God.
feeling too.
Oh, you totally get it. And you also, they do such an amazing job of just of demonstrating how normal they see their own life. Like them getting on a yacht in the middle of the Mediterranean. Just like I'm on the yacht. Like nobody is like, oh, yeah, like we're on a yacht.
No, they get around like New York by helicopter,
Yeah.
and it's just normal.
Yeah, just that, as if they're getting into an Uber.
Yeah.
Is this the show Billions wishes it was?
Yeah.
All right, so as we wrap it up, what were the best? So we've said that Fleabag, Succession. For me, I thought Watchmen was a really good runner-up for best TV shows of the year. I mentioned that for films, I really dug Parasite, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. You guys got any other films you want to throw out there?
I was going to say, I thought the format was going to be what do we think is the film of the year. So publicly, I would say Joker. And then personally, I would say Honey Boy.
You mentioned Honey Boy in another, but we actually
Yeah.
went deep on that with Shia LaBeouf. You thought it was great.
Shane, do you have
Yeah.
any predictions for 2020? Any movies? that you're
Uncut
looking-
Gems Wait was amazing
Yeah.
too.
Oh, I can't wait to
That's
see
up
that.
there. You didn't like Uncut Gems.
No. Here's the thing.
Don't say anything more. I don't even.
I won't.
But either of your opinions,
Oh, really?
No.
Okay.
because I'm going to see that. I want
I have a very
I know.
nuanced.
You're becoming your dad, Max.
You are.
Oh
Put
my
the headphones
God.
on.
I did. I put my headphones on in the movie theater the other day when I went to see Parasite, and Lauren was like, "Slap me." She's like, "No, you're not going to do that."
You did
But
it
I
during
don't
the
think
trailers.
he was going to say any plot.
I wasn't.
No.
All I'll say is this: I have a nuanced take on my thoughts on the film.
Okay, fair enough.
And have they changed from
Nope.
your original thought?
They haven't.
So you still did not like the film?
No. I think it was an excellently done film.
Oh, it's just you don't like the way it made you feel.
Yeah.
We're talking
Gotcha.
about Uncut Gems here. Okay. What? Any predictions, Shane, for 2020? Any new releases that
Here's a prediction for you: Sandler gets nominated for an Oscar.
Sandler? I like the way you said that, like Sandler. I like
Sandman gets nominated. Did you guys see those clips of him hooping? By the way.
No, I
Oh
listened
yeah,
to the pod
people
with
have been
him.
sending it to me, and Mike was one of them. That he plays like me.
He does.
and he does. I watched. So I was like, I saw the One Pass, obviously, and then I went down the rabbit hole of Sandler clips. There's a 30-minute, like professionally filmed thing of him playing with all these 50-year-old dudes. There's a ref. There's commentators, and he plays exactly like me. It's hilarious. You got to watch it. It's very interesting.
Okay, so Sandman gets an Oscar nom. Do you got any 2020 predictions? Any of your favorite actors or directors doing stuff?
No, well, it's hard for me because I don't go on predictions. I go to IMDb, I see what they're working on, and then I know when the movie's coming out. Usually it's 2 years in advance. So I can't
2021.
Yeah.
You got anything, Max?
No.
Because you said you weren't going to force this subject down our throats. You're like, if you got any predictions, just say them. Don't worry, I'm not going to put you on the spot. No pressure. And then you put me on the spot.